So Predator Concrete Jungle came out in 2005. The game was developed by Eurocom and published by Universal. And as a kid, I genuinely really liked this game, but I had an idea that some people just weren't on board with this game at all, and I didn't really understand why. So I thought I'd take the time to go back and have a look at a game that I was like really nostalgic about. Before we get into any of the gameplay and such, I'm just going to be showing like the opening of the game, so there's no spoilers if you do want to go ahead and play this game. Now, on paper, Predator Concrete Jungle should be a fantastic game. It's got a great formula of an iconic movie character and who is a hunter, and it's an kind of open world game. There's like open world levels I should say, and you just got to hunt down targets. There is an overarching storyline which I'll probably go into eventually, but yeah, that is the formula to win. But for whatever reason, this game is just bad. Like, it is. I can't quite put my finger on why this game is just not good. I think it just doesn't feel right as a game. It's just odd. I can't say much more. It's just super odd. There is barely any tutorial in this game, and the tutorial hints it does give you make absolutely no sense. And there's just like a bit of a disconnect. Like, I don't know if the game's expecting you to play at a certain speed, and then but the characters and everything moves quicker, because there always seems to be some sort of like little bit of lag behind what's going on in the game. And when the game does give you tutorial tips and button prompts, it's just doesn't always work, which is really weird. Like, I realized this as I was playing along. It eventually, like this bit here, it tells you like how to do a finishing move. It just says execution. There you go. Press B. But then hold L. Press B. I'm playing this on the Xbox, the original Xbox, by the way. But then, like, a load of other times, it just won't work. Like, oh, okay, I guess there's, like, a certain thing that you have to do sometimes. Later on, it also tells you that you have to, you can only grab people when unarmed. But it is worded in a way that makes me feel like, am I supposed to be the one that's unarmed? Like, it took me too long to work out that it was the Predator that's supposed to switch to unarmed. And good luck trying to work out how to switch to weapons, because the game doesn't really tell you that either. Now, one of the things I do like, and going back to it now, I did realise, other than some frame rate issues in just playing this game on a console, which was a bit strange to see, the graphics are genuinely quite good. But one thing I can't get over is how quick the Predator runs. Like, the speed of the Predator and the movement of the camera do not sync up at all. Like, also, there's one thing that I would like to point out, is that is it Y-axis of the controller is automatically set to default, which is like really strange for me. I had to change it right here because I was like, what? Like, I just couldn't get my head around like having to, like, trying to turn left, trying to turn right, and it was a nightmare. So just showing you how to do it, because it took me a little bit to work it out. That's how you do it. And really, that should have been the first clue for me that this game is made by strange people, that you invert the horizontal axis. Who does that? I can understand inverting the vertical axis, but the horizontal axis, like, what are you doing with yourself? Who plays like that? No one plays video games with a horizontal invert. Only if you do play games with a horizontal invert, comment below, because I genuinely need to check if you're okay. Now, as the game goes on, you do get more access to more Predator weapons, like iconic weaponry. You can even upgrade them. So you start off with like a standard, like the shoulder cannon or the plasma caster, like your spear, and a disc, like a frisbee, whatever it is. And as you go along in the game, you get to upgrade them. So when the disc originally starts and looks like what it does in Predator 2, it goes on to eventually looking like what they did in Alien versus Predator, which is like the weird sort of like fan disc where it's like big, like massive blades, which I thought was a really cool touch. And it's the same with the spear. The more you go through the game, the more it upgrades, and you can unlock loads of different costumes and upgrades to the Predator armor, so you can basically kit out your Predator how you want him to. That's really cool. I really like that bit of the game. You can also do certain challenges, hunt down special enemies to get more weapons. More cosmetic items. Again, that's really cool. But these platforming sections are just... they're like, again, there's a weird disconnect that the camera doesn't move as quickly as the Predator runs, and it is, when you're trying to do precision platforming, I understand it is third person, so it's a little bit easier than trying to do it in first person. It is just so hard, like so hard trying to figure out what you're doing, where you're going, where you're jumping. Also, if you hold down A, he does a charge jump. You can't move while charging up a jump, so you just kind of have to make sure that you've got enough charge to then jump. Yeah. Again, this just all feels like it could have been resolved with the developers. Like, they could have sorted this and they just didn't. The lock-on system doesn't work, because when you lock onto a system, all your attacks kind of, yeah, they lock on, but the camera doesn't move. So you can lock on to people that are not in view of the camera, like, so you're never quite sure who you're locking onto sometimes. But anyway, that's my rant about the gameplay. The gameplay is not good in this game. There's some, I don't know why this moment happened. I killed an enemy. They didn't tell me why this enemy was special. I guess he was like a target. I skinned him alive. Cool. Do I know why this happened? Do I know, like, what context to the story this is? Absolutely not, because the game doesn't tell you. And the storyline for this is really cool. Like, as a Predator story, it's quite interesting. So basically what happens, just to give you a synopsis of the story, is you're playing as this Predator. You start off in the 1920s in a sort of like fake American city. You get routed by the mob. They chase you out of the city while you're getting chased out of the city, which is this like intro level at the moment. Basically, you fuck up and you... like, everyone knows that there's a Predator that exists. You go to activate the little bomb that they have on their wrist and survive, because apparently the bomb is the ship and not what I always assumed was the little laptop on the wrist. It's the actual ship that they fly in is the nuclear bomb that goes off. Somehow you survive, and yeah, and it's you're shamed as a Predator. And you get marooned on a planet where you have to fight weird scorpions. You don't have to. It all happens in a cutscene, which you'll probably see at the end of this sort of footage I've captured. Then you have to sort of, after 100 years, because apparently predators live that long, you only know this through a very, very quiet narrator that you can barely hear. And so yeah, after the 100 years, you get picked up by your predator mates that are like, oh yeah, I guess you're right if you survived this long. And then they sort of like ship you back to the planet that you've, like this place you are now, where all of the mobs have like taken the predator technology from the game, well, from you, sorry, taken all your predator technology that you've apparently left behind during this cutscene, which I don't remember doing, but apparently you did that, and they've all become super powerful, like science fiction, cyberpunk style gangs that have like augmentation and crazy like predator technology. So you got to go back, fight the predators, fight the predator gangsters. And yeah, that seems like a cool story, a crazy story that doesn't make a lot of sense and should probably stick to a comic book, but that is the overall story of this game, and I think that's a pretty cool concept. However, the execution of this is a bit it's just not executed well, and it's so frustrating because you had all the elements of a good game and it's just done badly. Like, the story is so interesting and a cool concept. This is the bit literally the bit I was just talking about. The story is such a cool concept, it genuinely is, and then they just butcher it with some of the worst third person action gameplay I've ever had to sit through. And when you get into later games after this mission, it gets even worse. It is very much like, I just don't get it. Like, this game that has so many extra stuff, so many cosmetics, so many additional things, so many links to the universe. This game is heavily linked to the Alien vs Predator films, which is kind of cool if you're into them films. They're terrible films, but they're also beautiful films. So for so much love to be poured into the sort of like story and the like Easter eggs and all the extra stuff and the bonus stuff of this game, to then face off against like absolutely no effort. I feel like I can say this game came out so long ago, to feel like there's like no effort put into the actual gameplay and they just sort of went, yeah, I'll do. Like, I just feel like it's just such a weird experience. It genuinely is. Also, I'd just like to point out as well that the Predator speaks only in the Predator languages. I know they've got like Yuankai is their actual name of the race, but they only speak in the weird clicking language. There's no subtitles, so good luck working out what's going on in some of these scenes, especially like, well, with this bit you've got a narrator, but the narrator's definitely summarizing. Like, that's all I'm saying. There's more going on here that may be interested. Maybe just, you know, maybe just have some like Predator subtitles, not just like, yeah. It like baffles me that they didn't think like, well, if you play as a Predator, maybe you should understand the Predator language. Like, that is like, again, fundamental gameplay things that the developers should have included in this game, just to make it that little bit more enjoyable, just so you know what's going on. Like, I'm a big fan of Predator. Predator 1 is my favourite film of all time. Predator 2 I just think is an absolute meme fest. I know who that guy was just then who threw a spear on the floor, because I've seen him in other media. Does anyone else? That's like, no. You know what I mean? It doesn't explain who he was and why he's important. It just kind of decided that, like, oh yeah, that would do. He's here. He threw the spear on the floor. There you go. Absolute madness. Like, I just don't understand it. So yeah, overall, that's Predator Concrete Jungle. It's a strange game. It's got a great concept, a great storyline. The execution is horrific. Like, truly is horrific. For what it could have been and the product that we got, it is a crime against gaming. But don't let me put you off playing this game. I feel like everyone should have to experience this game. So you can only really pick this game up now on the original PS2 or the original Xbox. I was playing the Xbox version today. I would recommend people play this game just to experience it. Some people might have different opinions to what my feelings are. That's absolutely fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. But let me know in the comments if you played this game, if you remember this game, and if you like this game, and, like, you know, convince me that it's a good game. I don't care. I'll happily talk about like this with anyone in the comments. But thank you so much for watching. I've been the Retro Gaming Goose. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be plenty more retro gaming stuff coming out.